Hi all, video 3 of my personal collection of desirable vinyl. All the contact details for myself are obviously in the comments section, or notes section under the video. I'm a appointment based record dealer in Evesham, Worcestershire, as the US seem to pronounce it. Not taking the mickey, but you're right. It's a very English word, isn't it? Worcestershire. I digress, as always. I basically run an appointment-based system in the shop, so you can contact me WhatsApp, YouTube, i.e. under this video, etc. Subscribe to the channel, please, and also through website and Instagram, but mainly Facebook. Facebook's where you'll see all the really current, up-to-date stock information and contact details for myself. Okay, so I did have a record store. I've gone over this ground in previous videos, but basically I had a record store, closed it in 2021, and lost the love for a lot of music and a lot of life, quite frankly, and it was just down to survival, not just because of the store. I had a lot of personal stuff that hit me through 2022 as well as a result of the store, etc. But I've regained my love for it all, and you can't keep a good record dealer down. So the reality is I do appointments, I invite people to come to the office. It looks like a stock room at the moment, but as it improves, I've only been doing this for a month as appointment based stuff, because I generally am selling 100% pretty much online. I do Evesham Market every first Saturday of the month, but with the way markets are these days, physical markets, people just don't come to see markets. We all want them, we all want to see them, we all go, how lovely, but there isn't really that much engagement, as in customers buying stuff. We're all guilty of it. We buy online. That's the nature of the world. I have embraced it, and I sell through eBay. I did have my own web store, but I closed that down because again, costs are prohibitive. These online SEO companies and Google and such like, Bing, etc., they know this, and they charge more and more money for clicks, click-throughs, engagement, that kind of thing. And why wouldn't you? They're corporations. That's what they do for a living. They'll maximise what they can, based on, opportunity, won't they? So I'm a one-man band. I love being that one-man band. I like to engage with customers, which is why I still do the markets and why I'm doing things like this. Much as it's remote, I'm on the other end of a camera trying to present myself in the best way possible. I'm not a presenter, as you can tell. I'm just a record dealer trying to make a living. This is what I do. I don't do anything else. I sell records and music related stuff, but mainly records. That's what I do for a living. I will never be a rich man, but I'm rich with music, and I love it. So I'll carry on with the collection. I don't have a massive collection compared to a lot of my customers. And as I've said in previous videos, this is about a third or a quarter of what I used to have until a few years ago. Because again, needs must. We all have a backstory. That's just the way it is in life. But it's how you come out at the other end. So Hendrix Rainbow Bridge, a very underrated album, which you can basically pick up for a few pounds in nearly everywhere. I'm not precious necessarily about covers, as you can tell. If I'm selling something like this, I'm just honest with online. I will take a photo of the item and I will tell you the main points of why it's the condition I've listed it at. I don't like dealers who, and I won't buy from people who just go, it's good plus, that's it. Discogs description or an eBay description, there's nothing in the actual description itself telling you what the record's like. I detest that type of selling. It's lazy and it's opportunist. and that's all they're trying to do is go, oh, it's VG. And, you know, I've seen dealers sell that, which I would say is fair to good at best. I've seen people selling this at VG to go, well, yeah, it's got creases around the edges and it's a bit worn. It's worn through. It's got a rip there. It's very bent, you know. The record itself is VG plus, because that's the bit that matters. But I'll be honest about that. Anyway, that's the subject of a different video. This is about my personal collection. So, Hendrix Rainbow Bridge, are you experienced? I was lucky to find that. A lot of this stuff I've not had for years and years and years. I didn't buy it back in the day for 3 and 6. I'm only in my 50s, early 50s. I grew up in the 80s. In the mid 80s was when I was a teenager. So a lot of this stuff was already well established and had gone and passed, and most of it was still rising in price even when vinyl was not popular. You know, so that's, I'm paying what you guys are paying, which is why I do what I do, because there's an awful lot of dealers out there who have obviously been doing it and are 10, 20 years older than me, or have had the luck, I guess, of more finances to buy stuff. But I'm out there with you guys, you know, trawling around everywhere I can to try and find what I can to move on, to sell, to still make markup and make a living off it, but also for my own personal collections, you know. So you know, I have an affinity with all of that, rather than the detachment I think an awful lot of dealers I've seen in the past have. And I'm sure I'll come under fire with this one, but you know, there's a lot of dealers that do act as a bit snobby and go, well, yeah, I bought this and it's now worth 300 quid. And I'm like, that's not what I'm about. I want a record that I can buy, that I can sell on or keep, that I don't think feel I was ripped off. Having said that, the original Hendrix, which is an initial pressing, I'm not going to open it up, but basically that probably is worth about 400, and I did only pay 40 for it, so they are out there. But I'd never sell it for that. I mean, I've seen it at 700 at the moment, which I think is absolutely mental, and I don't agree with. But that's, I don't set the market forces and the trends. You as the buyers do that, you know. The sellers don't set the price, because if we set a price that we think it's worth, we'll never sell it. So it's based on what you guys are prepared to pay. I'm not blaming you, you know. The rarity, the condition obviously matters. I mean, this is only in good condition, so probably at best that's 350 maybe. Hendrix in the West, fantastic. It's just great. I mean, it's been written all over that cover. I picked this up a few years ago, probably for about £5. Reissue of Band of Gypsies. Nice little 2-album box set experience on Polydor. That was pretty unusual, you know, quite like that one. Axis Boldest Love, again, reissue. I buy reissues, both bootlegs of live stuff and session type recordings, say Fleetwood Mac, Led Zeppelin, Hendrix, that kind of stuff, that are unofficial but not awful, terrible bootlegs, but actually good quality stuff from a good source of recording, good recording source. Or I buy the official reissues, you know, on Let Them Eat Vinyl or whatever, Earache, etc., you know, depending on the genre. So I do sell stuff like that, where, you know, that is probably in a VG plus excellent condition. It's probably about 50 quid these days. Fine if you want to buy that, but I do hear a lot from customers that say about quality of vinyl. This is an important point, actually. Who just won't buy the modern pressings. I say yes, do that. Don't buy these 80s reissues, because they are dreadful. They're on thin vinyl, usually only 120 gram if you're lucky, so there's no depth to the groove, and you don't really get any confidence that even without a scratch, it'll probably still go zoom and skip across. It doesn't matter how good your system is. Great example actually of that is Led Zeppelin's In Through the Outdoor, which isn't a compilation. It was a proper release. Also Fleetwood Mac's Tango in the Night. I've had multiple copies of them for sale over the years, and even if I find them as near mint, most of them still just skip across, even with a decent quality stylus set up properly. So you just got to be careful. There's certain pressings that weren't good in the day, and certainly going back to the modern side of pressings, they're good. 180 gram pressing is fantastic, and the artwork's clearer than the original because it's the printing systems are better than they were 50 years ago. And the pressing plants, that was part of an industry that I worked with for years as an engineer, and moulding machines are better. They're better. The vinyl is of better quality generally as well that they're putting in. The virgin materials better. So trust me on this one. When people go, oh no, I want the original, fine, that's okay, but this is roughly what it's going to be. It'll be an escalated cost, sorry about that. An escalated cost, which is okay. I like looking for original pressings as well because they have provenance, they're of the time. But don't be afraid to get a new pressing. They are good generally. Also, if you're buying brand new from a dealer and it's not right, or it does have something wrong with it, you're going to get, everybody has consumer rights. So you could go brand new record, didn't play as expected, or it's got a scratch or it skips, or it doesn't have the sound quality or whatever. You've got comeback, haven't you? So hence why I'm buying stuff like that. And that was actually reissued as the original mono as well. They haven't enhanced the stereo, and that's my point, is you can get pressings now. Most of the current reissues have realised, a lot of these companies, pressing plants, probably the distributors themselves or the record companies who are then putting the order in to the pressing plant, have realised that just do a good pressing. There is a trend for coloured vinyl at the moment. I don't mind it. Some of it's very good. I have a reissue of Kind of Blue on blue vinyl by Miles Davis, and it plays fine, but it is a bit gimmicky. So I tend to just go, if the black one's out there, I'll buy the black version because we know that that's a longer, harder wearing medium. How the Good, that's quite an interesting psych stuff. Iron Butterfly, Jane's Addiction, Ritual de lo Habitual. I love that album, just fantastic. Caught Stealing, Kossoff. I don't want to teach people to suck eggs here because, there are aficionados out there that would instantly, I don't know who Kossoff was. He was a guitarist for free, died at 27, one of the 27 club. But there'll be a lot who don't. I didn't know who he was until a few years ago. I liked Free, but I didn't really know who he was until a customer said, you want to listen to this album, it's really good. And I did. I thought, wow, So there's some oddities in here that aren't just mainstay. Now, what I love is that I am not snobby about the music, but also at the same time, I love some of the rarer stuff, bands and artists that only 500 people in the world have heard of and are looking for that ultimate £500 album. And again, sometimes they crop up, and I'm not going to say no to these, but my collection's pretty standard. I mean, it's nothing really out there, I don't think, that other collectors, buyers won't have. But it's what I love, it's what I like. Isn't that what music's about? It's, I've got Led Zeppelin and Pink Floyd and Rory Gallagher and, stuff like that. So, I mean, I'm not looking for stuff that, I don't buy stuff generally that's ultimately so rare that it was You know, like I had an Asagi, right? They were a funk outfit. It's a £140 record, probably more. You know, and which I picked up as part of a collection. Paid a lot of money for it. Sold it through eBay, no problem at all. You know, pretty much got what I asked for. A bit less, including shipping, but I'm not looking for that for my own collection purely because it's rare. I just love what I love. So costs again. Led Zepp 2. I do have Led Zepp 1, not the original. It's the same year but a repress. That's in the office at the moment. It's on constant play. Led Zepp 2. This is an original. I mean, you know, it's seen a hard life. Led Zepp 3, 4. Okay, the untitled album. You know, basically, you can tell I'm a bit of a Led Zepp fan. Presents Into the Outdoor, one I was talking about. Coda, which is quite funny because I'm sure people will correct me if I'm wrong here, but I'm just going to say it as I see it. It was a bootleg, basically, of stuff, and Led Zepp went, okay, you know, and embraced it and released it, basically under Swan Song, but it is pretty much a bootleg. Live, love that. Song Remains the Same, just fantastic. And then I do get the odd bootlegs, which I sell on as well. I do buy these to sell, and then I keep a few copies for myself. But Dazed and Confused, I generally buy BBC session stuff because you know it's going to be professionally recorded and it's going to be edited properly and mixed properly, etc. Led Zepp remasters, which was the one that Jimmy Page was deeply involved with in the early 90s. Yeah, early 90s, I believe. Because I had the original CD box set, which is that one, which I paid an awful lot of money for in the day, which was obviously in an album-sized presentation. And then I found this one recently, which was the actual 3-album set that was released. Lynyrd Skynyrd, again, live. I buy live stuff. I love live. Because it is an indication of the band itself and what they were about. So, yeah, I get... Obviously, got loads of studio stuff, but I do like the live stuff as well. Steve Marriott, this was released by their fan base, basically. And it's a double album of all his unreleased material from the 60s up to when he died. And it was brought out in 2018 by Easy Action Recordings, based on Wapping Wharf. easyaction.co.uk. Don't know if it's still in press, but I grabbed a few and I sold about 5 within 2 weeks and kept one for myself. Miracle Workers Overdose. It's an interesting one, that one. I'm trying to find where to put them without them bending. Floyd. That is not the original. It's on a Fame reissue. I'm not afraid to buy a Fame stuff. There are people who snobby, oh god, I won't buy it on Fame. There was an 80s one. This is the point I was making. They were an 80s, mainly 80s reissue label, part of EMI, and yeah, the vinyl was flimsy, so just check it first before you buy something, or just pay very little for it so that you're not really losing out if it's not right. That's a bootleg, Harvest. I never play it, but that's absolutely fantastic, isn't it? Of the original Piper at the Gates of Dawn. Yeah, Source Full of Secrets, that is an original. And then I've got a later reissue that I play. I'm not a completist and I'm not a complete audiophile, but there's certain records I play a lot or want to play a lot, and if others crop up that I can afford at the time, I'll buy them. Atom Heart Mother, Relics with the textile finish, Omaguma medal, Obscured by Clouds. I'm missing more in there. I've got a picture disc, that's quite an interesting one. Which is really nice. It is that kind of prism on the vinyl, which is fantastic. Never played it. Quadraphonic version of Pink of the Dark Side of the Moon, and then the standard version, Dark Side of the Moon. That is an original. The Wall, again, original release. Animals, Wish You Were Here, final cut which I've never listened to properly. It was the first album I ever bought, thinking, oh yeah, I know who they are. I've heard of Pink Floyd. Didn't know anything about them. And I went into, it was probably John Menzies in Weymouth at the time. And I think it was Menzies. Bought this, listened to it. Oh God, no. Took it back and swapped it for U2's Unforgettable Fire. I then bought this in later years thinking, well, I get Pink Floyd now. I understand what they're about. But not when you're 13 or 14 or 15 spending your pocket money. I don't have U2's Unforgettable Fire, ironically. Love the album, but I sold it again as part of my culling of stuff. Momentary Lapse of Reason. I like this one, you know, Delicate Sound of Thunder live. That one's a bit scratched, sadly, so I can't really sell it. And Echoes, which I absolutely love, which is your 4-album set. Queens of the Stone Age. Promo copy of Songs for the Deaf. Rainbow Rising, that was my father's copy. I'm never selling that. It's probably my favourite heavy rock album of all time in terms of just classic rock. It's bloody amazing. Big hits: High Green Grass, High Tide, Rolling Stones. Not a massive Stones fan, but I prefer them over the, say, the Beatles. As in, I like their blues background, I like what they did, because the more you know over the years, the more you realise that they were basically taking, you know, Delta blues and bringing it to the white folk, let's face it, in a sellable form, you know, that we could accept. And of course, Brian Jones is a relatively local guy from Cheltenham, and you know, it's good. I like the compilation stuff. It's quite good. I do have Rolled Gold as well, which is a great double album compilation to have. I have a feeling I might have sold that looking at it. Davy Roth, brilliant. Bought This Is My Original, Eating Them a Smile, Skyscraper. Royal Blood, this was a gift from a guy that actually used to work for me in the record store. Thank you, James. It was my birthday and I went, God, yeah, quite. What's new that I like, you know, that I think that you think I would like? Because he was like 18 at the time. And he went, I think you'd like these guys. He wasn't wrong. Love it. Rush, massive Rush fan. 2112, Archives, Caress of Steel. Farewell to Kings, Hemispheres, Moving Pictures, Grace Under Pressure, Hold Your Fire. I kind of lost interest after that. Yeah, I just thought, oh, too synthy. I'm not snobby about it. I just know what I like. So as I say, I'm not a completist. They did go back to their roots in later years, sadly, before Pert died. You know, but and I would watch a lot of that. I've got it on Spotify. I'm not afraid to say I stream stuff as well. This business would not survive if it wasn't for Spotify and YouTube and the ability to just look at something and go, oh, I don't know what that is. And the amount of people that come up to the store in the old days, or to my market stall, or up to the office and go, I don't know what that is, stick it on and go, oh yeah, okay, and then they'll buy it. You know, it's great because they get that choice, you know, of going, oh, I'll take the risk, but I kind of want to know what it is first. I mean, all right, I can play stuff, stick it on the deck and play it, but it's nice that they can just, if I'm busy with somebody else, another customer, they can just put it on. Brilliant. Small Faces, that album was my dad's, and he had that, them, and the Zombies, which was on Rock Roots, released by Decca. Again, an amazing compilation, kind of promotional stuff of Decca's bands at the time. Obviously, you know, they went on to Immediate Records, so it's only got the early singles on there that Don Arden obviously was involved with, but that's kind of what got me into music as well, in that side of it. So from the beginning, Small Faces, hit singles, history of, re-release of one of their early ones. This is quite funny. Weed Bus is brilliant. They're a UK band. I can't remember. I think they're from the north of England, but it's great. They're called The Stairs. The song is Weed Bus. You can guess what it's about. and it's just cool. They still tour with it. They're still around as far as I know. Certainly in the last few years I knew they were still around, and I think this has become a bit of a signature tune for them. I've seen them a couple of times. Status Quo, Down the Dust Pipe. I love early Quo. You know, like again, Dad had On the Level and Blue for You, which are my two favourite albums, probably because when I'm 9 or 10, he's playing that stuff because he's a guitarist. He's playing this stuff and I'm like, wow, you know, it's blowing your mind away. You don't know whether it's trendy or cool or not cool. I don't care. If I like it, I like it. UFO live, brilliant. And then a load of Who stuff. So My Generation without the cover. With the cover, you're talking £70 in crap condition, probably 150 in VG plus these days. If you find it in near mint, it'll be a miracle. So if you see anybody out there going, oh, in there it's near mint, but not explaining why it's near mint, don't buy it, please. I urge you, because it won't be. It will be massively overplayed. It will have signs of spindle marks and it'll have hairline scratches if nothing else. Going to finish up with the Who stuff and then I'll do another video. Yeah, a bit of a compilation, meaty beaty, big and bouncy. Found that at my stepdaughter's school fete, the year I started this business back in 2010. There you go. So she would have been 8 or 9, and I thought, wow. And there was somebody selling that plus Mike Oldfield's Mike Oldfield's Tubular Bells, 2001 Space Odyssey, all sorts of stuff. And I thought, oh, okay, I want that, and I'll sell the rest. And that's how the business was born, really. The Who Backtrack 3, so it was on Track Record. Track, again, similar to Decca, did some amazing 99p stuff. And it was often one artist on one side and, say, Hendrix on the other. Or it would have whoever, you know, it would have a mixture of bands. And there was a lot of them. There was a whole series of them. Live at Leeds, that's the blue one. There's a red, a black and a blue. I've got the blue. I think that was a later pressing. Kids Are Alright, one of my favourites. Iconic photo, love that. Quadrophenia, Tommy, but that's the movie version and that's the original version. So that's the one that has Tina Turner and Elton John and people, and that's the one that has the Who doing what they do. This is awesome. Again, this is the kind of stuff I source through my distributor, from my distributor. Live at Leeds, it's a triple album. It's absolutely fantastic. It's on blue vinyl, I think this one, yeah. Good quality, bloody heavy, you know. And it's just the whole 1970 Isle of Wight, and it has been edited and mixed properly and remastered, but it's good. The Who, that's what started it all off for me again. My dad had this, and I put it on, and you know, I just thought, my God, won't get fooled again. Poof, that was it. I was into the Who from that moment onwards, and I'm a big Yardbirds fan as well. So Remembering, and that's a clear vinyl version. Shapes of Things, with a very young Jimmy Page, and Beck. Wow, pretty cool, isn't it? Drea, pretty cool. Didn't know any of these people were at the time. I just loved the music, and it wasn't trendy to like all that, because, you know, as I say, I grew up in the 80s, so we were listening to bloody Ultravox and Soft Cell and New Order, and then moving into, you know, bloody Yaz and the pop plastic thingy, you know. Not my thing. I like some 80s, but this obviously is my passion. The Yardbirds' Greatest, and Neil Young's After the Gold Rush, and then I'll go through that lot in another video. Cheers, everybody. I know I need to be more slick, as I say, on this one. The videos are probably a bit too long, but I'm doing it because it's a bit cathartic for me, you know, and it's just to let you guys know what record dealers like and what we enjoy and what we do. You know, some collections for record dealers are tens of thousands of records. That's not me. I keep what I love. I sell anything that I see, and I pick anything up that is interesting, popular, cheap, expensive, whatever I can find. But as I say, don't come to me necessarily for looking for an album that you've spent 30 years looking for and you can't find, because you've already looked. And to do that, I do have contacts in the industry. Of course I do. I have a lot of dealers that I know, but mainly in the UK. I do buy from New York occasionally. I do import stuff from Holland, but that's getting harder and harder to do. The costs are rising, as we all know. Hence why I do what I do now online mainly, and run an office, which is basically my stock room. All right, so thank you very much. Really appreciate anybody who even got to the end of this. Thank you. And come and see us, please do. Just set an appointment, make an appointment. You can buy online, you can search all my stuff at Desirable Vinyl. Basically, you're looking for www.ebay.com/desirable/ or dash vinyl. That's what you're looking for. And then everywhere else it's without the dash. It's just desirablevinyl.co.uk. On Facebook as well. All right, thanks everybody. Subscribe, take care. I've got another video coming up shortly of the rest of my collection.